we are talking about Dandadan.
Mm-hmm. I feel like the longer I keep my hair like this, the like less ridiculous it looks, and that could totally be incorrect. But I feel like it's like actually starting to like fit my face, and I find that very funny.
You were meant to be a prepubescent boy.
That's funny as heck. Okay. Well, that's what I'm going to be talking about kind of in my section is the horrors of puberty. Teen isolation and peer / self-acceptance. As Gabe started to talk about, it's like the worst part of puberty, and maybe not the worst, but like a big horror story of puberty is that teens have everyone's eyes on them, like all the time. And the fact that a lot of the times the eyes looking at them are either not kind, are predatory, or just like unnecessarily cruel towards like people who like prefrontal cortexes aren't even fully formed. Like let them live. Right. So Dandadan, in its own jarring way, highlights the way puberty is a violent experience. The show doesn't shy away from showing this violence, as we talked about, both to its credit and detriment, both from the over-sexualization of Momo and Ira to the literal, and like also Okarun and Gigi, but the literal theft of Okarun's sexual organs and Gigi's inability to control Evil Eye, making him unsafe and unstable. Dandadan calls out the way society views and attacks teenagers in real life as they are going through like arguably one of the roughest transformations our bodies can go through, like chemically. All while trying to find acceptance both internally and externally amongst their peers. Each experience our characters go through are obviously things they shouldn't have to go through, and some of them are traumatizing and innocence stealing, but they represent the real horrors teens experience in the real world. And as we covered in our Generation series, it's hard to be a teenager, like at any time period. Like it kind of sucks to be a teenager historically. And while in the midst of hormones changing bodies and big feelings, teens also have to deal with the eyes of the world on them, both peer and adult. So like while they can't even find acceptance from their friends, they're also having to deal with like creepy adults or just like adults who are like, the teens are the scourge of it. Let's just burn the bridge and let this generation fail. Because clearly, you know, like all those other films that we've seen where it's like
Clown in the Cornfield.
Thank you. Clown in the Cornfield. We're like, just get rid of this batch. It's a bad batch. So yeah, people have been treating teens like garbage, like starkly. And when we look at the current situation happening in the United States with the Epstein files and Megyn Kelly using her platform to debate whether or not literally whether or not 15-year-olds are children. They are. Period. Yeah, and the fact that Dandadan makes us feel uncomfortable about the over-sexualization of our teen protagonist is a refreshing comparison to like the talking people on the TV who are really not getting it. You know what I mean? Like, and is it still too much? Yeah. Oh, it is still a little too much. It's a lot. I get why, and I accept that. But it also like, did I wish I didn't see some of it? Yes. Yeah. But it does call out the very real reality that teens experience as they grow up. Most people, unfortunately, have a memory in their mind when they realize people treated and looked at them differently while they were still very much children within their early teens. That very uncomfortable feeling of someone's eyes on you that you don't want, or a grown-ass adult talking to you when they should not be. The lens we're viewing through Dandadan is supposed to call out that reality and make you feel uncomfortable. And considering these like horrifying statistics that 1 in 9 girls experience sexual abuse or assault before the age of 18, and that 66% of these instances happen between 12 and 17, is a clear indicator of why this is such a huge issue. When you wonder why this number is so high, you can unfortunately just look at our president and the people he is surrounded by and the large base of people still supporting him and defending him, like Megyn Kelly. Getting rid of billionaires will help solve even more problems than we can think of. Because Jeffrey Epstein would not have existed without all of his wealth and power.
It's insane to me. I see those names, that list of names, and like it's like prince, princess, blah, 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 this person, rich. And I was like, no wonder he was untouchable.
Yeah.
We need to stop.
No, literally. Yeah, no. And it's like, you get rid of like the corruption of immense amount of money. you will solve a lot of problems. And it's just, yeah, it's really, we can all laugh and haha about the Clinton Trump time. Like, that is funny. But they're monsters.
Right.
At the end of the day. There's like literal testimony of what this man has done to like children. 12 to 15 years old. And the fact that it's like not uncommon, like child marriages in America is a shockingly high number. And it's not even considering across the globe. So the fact that people do not consider 15-year-old children is an issue. And that's something that Dandadan is calling out. So we thank Dandadan for that. Additionally, thinking of the ways this took place for each of our characters is really interesting. Like, so I'm specifically going to talk about the way that like they kind of each both align with and defy gender norms, and then how that impacts how society treats them within the show. So Momo, because she can throw hands and is loud, as Gabe said, they love a loud protagonist. She defies traditional views of femininity. She is the opposite of the persona Ira performs in a lot of ways. She is loud, smart, and tough. Bullies know not to mess with her because she can kick their ass. And she's direct and forceful with how she feels, while still maintaining like a level of vulnerability and sensitivity. But this unfortunately makes her vulnerable to the rage and violence from the patriarchy. Her innocence is never assumed. And instead, rumors are spread about her and then like quickly believed. Like when Ira does spread the rumor about her, they're like, yeah, absolutely. I believe she did that. She's trying to corrupt you.
And like the first scene we see of her, she's like physically fighting her ex-boyfriend. Like she's like she's physically fighting him and they're calling each other names. Like that's the first thing you see.
In her defiance of like this traditional, like, I must be quiet, timid, haha, femininity, she is like discarded by a lot of her peers. And she is isolated outside of her small friend group and longs for someone who really understands her. So like the connections and friendships that she finds along the way are really meaningful and impactful and really show the strength of community. She is also, unfortunately, the one we see attacked by the aliens most of the time and the awful men. And as Gabe said, they get through it. They kick ass. They get out of it. And through the power of friendship and also her latent or her own abilities, she saves herself. But it's consistent threats to her autonomy. And it's traumatizing. So it seems that the show is trying to tell us that society punishes those who defy gender norms and societal expectations, as well as just how they treat children. Momo's foil, Ira, performs femininity in a way society expects in the first half of season 1. Like, obviously, we see her grow, which I love that for her.
And apparently she continues to grow even more in the manga, which is why I want to read it.
Yeah. No, genuinely. Because, like, she was... I'll get to that, like, a little bit later, but she was hard to like for me initially. And I actually had to, like, question within myself, I need to like maybe heal something in myself to understand her more. But Ira's popularity is directly tied to the way she performs this femininity. She must always maintain this innocent, like ditzy girly girl facade, and plays upon the fact that this will get her the attention of the people around her, as well as like the protection and trust of people around her. She knows it will allow others around her to defend her because they perceive her as weak and defenseless, showcasing how society views femininity. Additionally, she knows that in performing all the time, no one will ever truly get to know her or like her for who she actually is. And that's why we're so glad that she gets to like grow, you know, because she's really like performing all the time. And then you get to see like, oh, this is exhausting.
Yeah.
And that's when I started to like her more, like when she stopped like masking so hard.
Yeah.
But from my perspective, at least, like this is fueled by a deep insecurity. And that's what fuels her manipulation of others and her own image. Like her character is interesting because at first, as I said, I did not like the fact she was manipulative. I did not like her and how she acted. But the performance was a call out to the fact that women aren't expected to be crude or rough around the edges, and that society wants them to be defenseless little lambs with their innocence in need of protection. Her friends get up in arms because she was found without clothes in the hallway with Momo and Okarun, and it's immediately assumed that she could never have done that herself. You know, it's had to be that Momo corrupted Ira's innocence. And if innocence must be protected, then inversely, perceived depravity and the girl like Momo must be destroyed. Like, and that's how they're acting. Like they're trying to like mob.
Yeah.
What is it? Not mob. Like, you know, when they like you join together with pitchforks.
Yeah, it's like a mob.
Mob mentality. Yeah. So they really like try to like attack Momo, and then Ira's like, wait a minute. Is what I'm doing bad?
Am I the drama?
Yeah,
every episode. Am I the drama? Yeah. Girl, literally.
Yes. Yeah, so stop, please. But when looking at the other characters, like as Gabe was saying, like Okarun and Gigi also see their fair share of trauma. Okarun and Gigi are foils of each other in a way as well. And at the beginning of the show, Okarun is heavily bullied and soft-spoken. He's not acting how society would classify necessarily masculine. He's a lovable nerd, and he isn't accepted by his peers for that reason, and like dislikes himself. Even in his friendship with Momo, he doesn't at any point like sexualize her or treat her like an object, which is like such a positive for him. But to his peers, they're like, why is he like this?
Yeah, there's like constant like where like I remember the guys were like, oh yeah, she's hot, and he's like, Momo's cute, and he like has a whole moment that every time he's like confronted, he's like, his fear is that she doesn't want to be his friend. Like he just wants a friend. Like he's such a sweet little boy.
He just wants a friend, bro. So just by existing, true to himself, he defies the traditional masculine persona that many men try to embody. And then, like immediately as we're shown him in his innocence, his literal sexual organs are taken from him because it's like, you don't got balls. You know what I mean? Like that's what the patriarchy is saying to him.
Right.
So literally putting his puberty's experience on display in such a vulnerable way. And the only way he can get them back is by like training and getting stronger and with Momo's help. So through friendship and building connections like with others, he is able to accept himself. And that's what really gives him strength more than the working out, in my opinion, is that like
it does.
He has like these like really sweet moments with the people that he cares about, like especially like his friendship with Gigi. I really enjoyed because like at first he's like, oh, this is a threat. But then he's like, no, actually I want Gigi to be my friend too. I really want more friends. Friends are so great.
Yeah. Well, so I would also say this really like Okarun's relationship with Evil Eye too. Like that is such a twist as well, that like he uses brains and like and hearing out and meeting Evil Eye on that level where like Gigi was the only one who had compassion for Evil Eye. And then it's like, surprise, Okarun also does, was like such a nice like breath of fresh air, but it also showed his strength. And I agree. Like he works out and does like his power up for like 5 minutes. And then the rest of his growth is like him using his brain like personal, or relying on his friends.
Yeah, no, exactly. So it's like you see this friendship building, and like that's really what's giving him strength. And you know, he is finally able to get at least part of his parts back, which is very exciting. And his friendship with Gigi specifically, like I really love that moment, as Gabe was saying, like when they really like it's through fighting, which is funny, but like they really see each other, and he's like, you know, boys. He starts compassion, like it's really just a fight for autonomy, and like it just shows how kind of a person he is. So, and then Gigi is also really interesting to me because similarly to Ira, he performs masculinity really well. Like he's a big sports boy. He was bold, strong, and goofy, distracting from his like sensitive, soft side, because he's actually like so compassionate. Sweet. He's like underneath the jokes, he is deeply sweet, emotional, and empathetic. And in the introduction of Evil Eye, we really see that Gigi just wants to help someone whose innocence and autonomy was stolen and give them a chance to live and have fun. So something everyone deserves. However, Evil Eye comes with a cost, and that is part of Gigi's autonomy. So essentially the hot, cold water thing is like, I was thinking of like in puberty where you have like such intense emotions that like you can't really, you need to learn emotional regulation and like control and like find outlets. And I thought like, if we look at Evil Eye as a manifestation of intense emotions like rage, we can say how that reflects most of like the toxic part of toxic masculinity, and how like men are expected to be violent, but in this way only Gigi can understand Evil Eye, because Evil Eye is actually very innocent, and his violence is wrong, but it's misunderstood. You know what I mean? Like he just wants to play. He just wants to fight real hard and like have fun like a kid. And then once they both understand like that's what it is, he's just too powerful to manage and control that energy. So they give him an outlet. And I just think that was like really cool as like the inverse of like hyper masculinity is like they really got to show like how to control that power while remaining innocent, and then also like having like emotional regulation in there. So if we taught young boys how to process and channel their emotions into healthier activities, the world might be a kinder, more empathetic place. Like, let boys be soft. It'd be rad. What I hope is the takeaway from this is that we should be nicer to teens in the world, just in general. We should allow them to figure out who they are. They're just floundering and trying to figure out what they like, who they are as a person, who they want to be, and how to relate to each other. On top of dealing with the hormones, not having their prefrontal cortex is fully developed, in need of that like growth through community. They need that time to grow and learn, and should be given grace where possible and within reason. Like, obviously, if they're actively harming people, consequences exist. But
intervene.
Obviously. But as long as they're not causing harm to others, like, let them be themselves. If they want to be a little weirdo, let them. If they don't want to present and perform gender in the way that society expects, or they love whoever they love, or they're just like, they really like space and they want to find aliens, like, let them do that. Let someone be a little dinosaur in the yard. Why do you got to ruin that for their childhood for them? And additionally, if you're a whole adult, you should be nowhere near anyone under 18 romantically. You should not look at them gross. If anyone who thinks differently, you're outing yourself. If you're watching Dandadan and you were like, ooh, no,
you're a problem. You were arrested.
Yeah, literally.
Straight to jail.
Stop being gross. Stop being gross. And the last thing I'll talk about is the power of friendship and community, and like how unique Dandadan's like approach to this was. Because it's like, you have two characters who have like these special interests, who are like opposite special interests, kind of like they're like similar vibe, but like they have very conflicting views. One, as you said, Gabe, at the beginning, like one thinks aliens is real and the other thinks they're not. Ghosts are real, ghosts not. So the show really shows the power of finding a friend and community, but also like the vulnerability of like being wrong and like growing together within that, and like just realizing you have so much more to learn as a human person. And the bond that Okarun and Momo develop is just really sweet and relatable in being misunderstood. Like, it just really shows like the power of finding someone who will look at you and all your flaws and be like, let's hold hands and get through the hard things together. So Dandadan shows the power of friendship. And when you have pieces of yourself that you're insecure about, or interests that you could yap about for hours, but other people were like, that's annoying. It's really healing to find a person who will look at you and like want to hear about that kind of stuff. Who wants to hear about aliens and spirits, and who also will be like, oh, I'm wrong. Okay, let's learn about life together then, because clearly we know nothing. So it was just like a really nice like lesson to see like these teens, because I remember like when I was a teenager, like no one knew anything, so it was like a lot easier to admit like you didn't know stuff. But like as an adult, I feel like it's a lesson for the adults who are watching this too, where it's like, sometimes you don't know everything, bro. It's okay.
You don't. The truth is you don't know everything.
You're like more likely to not know something than you are to know it. And we all need to like talk to each other and learn as much as possible. But if you assume you know everything about one thing, you probably don't know everything about it. And you need to accept that. Don't be like gatekeepy and weird. So additionally, in this like conflict, I think of like my own like teenage self and like my brother, who's 17 and very much thinks he knows everything.
Right.
So it's just like, I think it's just like really powerful to see this like coming of age tale where the lesson is there for both of us. And a lot of this drama and loneliness is not exclusive to the teenage years. In fact, our current times, isolation, depression, stressy depressy is out here. And the fear in general is just like a numbing constant. So seeing these kids find each other and grow their community in the midst of horrors unending feels like refreshing, because we're in horrors unending.
Relate. Hashtag.
And it's what we like kind of need right now. Like the absurdity of the show in some ways is a nice escape, and then also like the realness of the show is filled with like lessons and also like things we as a society, clearly based on the current political times, need to be better about. So it's a refreshing show, even though it's kind of traumatizing at times. And I enjoyed it.
That's what I mean. Like, again, I totally understand anyone who's like, no, it's a hard no for me because that's uncomfortable.
Fair. Yeah.
but I will, like, you know, I just argue the other side is that it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be uncomfortable. It's supposed to make you think about these things. And that is refreshing because it's not often that we get that. And again, we have like these heroes that are just not what we're used to seeing. It is really creative with its powers and the people. It's got the hottest granny that ever was. Like, you know,
it's true. Yeah. And it's something that's nice about it is that because it's so uncomfortable, is like, it is one of the lessons that I think is a takeaway of it, is that we're supposed to be uncomfortable sometimes,
right,
to grow. And if it's not for you, obviously that's totally fine. It wasn't for me after seeing the first episode for at least like a month.
Yeah.
And then I came back to it with like, I just skipped the first episode so I didn't have to experience again and just went on, and it was a lot better of an experience. But you have to feel uncomfortable sometimes. Like, it just is a part of growth. Like, you're not going to grow doing the same thing every single day and never feeling anything. If anything, going back to the whole heaven cannot exist, an ethical heaven cannot exist if we are accepting that people will be damned. Similarly, if you live your whole life in a bubble, you're not going to care about and have empathy for others who need your empathy and care as horrors persist. Right. They're like, good people need to, or people who will fight for others need to exist, especially in these times. So
right, like, you can believe in the truth that joy can exist in the world without suffering on the other side. We just have to believe in that and be nicer to each other, give each other grace as we continue to grow. Like, you never stop growing, you never stop learning. And just like take care of yourself, you know. You don't just because it's like a trending thing, you absolutely do not have to live this. Even if after you hear us say like still no. I get it.
That's fine.
Like, they're like genuinely, like, I saw like in an article someone had a shot from the manga of Okarun and Momo when they're like wet and like on top of each other and drawn. It was so much worse. Where I was like, ugh. I was like, but with the manga, at least you could just kind of go. You could go really fast.
You could be like, nope.
Censor. Yeah, you can, you know, hide it from yourself. But yeah, I will say, I love Momo. Like, I love loud people, but my favorite character is Gigi. I love him. Yeah, he's such a little weirdo. Okay, everybody's weird, but he is a weird. I love the way he says stuff. It's so silly.
Yeah.
But I think like the best part really is just like this quirky little romance between these kids who are like figuring each other out, and they're so awkward and they're just
I love it.
Like, oh, they're holding hands.
I remember watching some of their cute little like hand touch. I was like, Isaiah, I love. I just love like the innocence of this. Like, it's just so sweet to like see people not be like sex, you know, just be like, because it's gross and it stresses me out. And I actually thought it was very sweet to have them just be like nice to each other and be like, oh, our hands touch. That's really emotional.
Well, even like, you know, I'm thinking of like when Okarun is turbo grannied, it's like his voice gets deeper, and that's also kind of funny because there's a time where he's like, here, I'll help you or whatever, and she's like, stop talking to me like that. She's like, stop using that voice. What are you doing? Don't do that to me.
Yeah.
So that's
your name is not Ken. Talk to her or whatever.
Yeah. And so like that's funny, but it's also like representative of like your voice, like, you know, dropping.
Yeah.
But then
puberty.
Yeah, also like his like emotions when he gets like really depressed. He's like, this is such a drag. So that's also puberty, you know,
Shikimar,
like the big spikes of energy that like lead to a crash out. Like
I'm just an awkward guy. Yeah.
And she's like, I get it. I feel that too. Like, shut up. No. Yeah. So, you know, I do recommend it. And I also think like take your time, know your limits, maybe fast forward, or, you know, there's probably a list somewhere that's like, don't watch this part. Yeah. And you can still get a decent amount of the story and it's charming. Or you just listen to stuff like this, watch clips online. Yeah. I don't know. But let us know what your favorite, you know, teen animes are, your favorite heroes and superpowers, and I don't know, you might be a fan of fan service.
Yeah, explain Kill la Kill to us. I don't get it.
Listen, no, I've like watched videos about Kill la Kill a little bit, and there's a lot of defense for it, and I get like I hear you. Also, I just haven't gotten
there's
there.
like a fashion thing with it. Isaiah's kind of explained it to me once before, and I'm like, I couldn't watch it.
Sailor Moon's got a lot of fashion inspo. Such Sailor Moon. Sailor Moon's so rad.
Even Momo's fashion as heck. I'll say that's it too.
She's so cute.
They changed their outfits, which is very nice and refreshing, kind of in anime in general. Because like you think of like cartoons, like they wear the same outfit all the time.
Yeah,
I like it when someone changes their fit. I think that's fun.
yeah, and I just like that. Like, you know, some of the villains are villains, and then some of them are like, oh, we've learned about them. And, you know, we can have compassion. We can grow just as people, too. It's super rad. So let us know what you think. Remember to like and subscribe, comment, share, all that stuff to support us. And
tell us if you like our hair.
Tell us if you like our hair. We'll catch you at the end of the year with our last of this animated series. So don't get married.
Delete your kids. Or hopefully your kids are okay. And
hopefully they get to keep their balls.
Awful puberty. Yeah, you know, just let them go through
don't
puberty
steal kids' balls.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
I feel like that goes without saying. Yeah.
It goes without saying for sure. Okay, bye. Yeah.